Welcome to Battletech, Oath of Endosteel, Season 3, Episode 13029, Part 2, with our guest, Kane Damiel, a.k.a. Kyle Morgan, a.k.a. Adam Knight, joining us today
Rip.
as House LeBeau, which may not be much of a house at all. So, my friends, while we are about to start the episode, what you don't know is that on Discord right now, I am secretly sending several of you messages that you will want to read before we get started properly on this episode.
Hey.
I never want to read
What?
people.
Literally in law school. Who are you kidding? Reading is 99% of what you do.
Yeah.
Post hoc ergo propter hoc? Is that what it is? Anyway. I have sent you your messages. If I might remind you, well, I need to remind you people, you who are gathered here, but the audience, we will not be having an episode next week on the 17th, and there will be 2 guest episodes or one-shots after that. We're still working on guests, but Eddie will be out for 2 weeks. I'm out next week, so today's episode will be the last full proper episode until the 7th, which, if you're not a Patreon viewer, will actually be the 14th. It's going to be a long wait, so make sure to set a fire and keep yourself warm through the cold October, where there won't be enough Endosteel to keep you warm. You Battletech shrimps out there. Has everyone read their message and they're ready to get started?
Correct.
Eddie got his message last, guys.
Yes,
it was in the order of who messaged me today, and Eddie didn't message me today, unlike Sam and...
Wait, what?
Yeah, Sam and I recently had messaged Sam and Eric, so they were at the top of my send list. So they were the
that's
first.
fair.
Well, I just looked back at the last couple messages because I forgot what we were talking about. And
we were talking about spinning orbs.
God.
Yeah, we're talking about,
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll send you something after because I totally forgot about that.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, I'll let you guys decide how you want to do things right now. If you will recall, last time there was a jump ship that had arrived and deployed several drop ships and fighters, and Sir Tyr Sauron had a slight problem managing things since he has one tug drop ship, which is not capable of fighting a force like this. What are the 3 you want to do? Your messages arrive almost all at the same time.
I have some ideas, so if you guys need to figure out what your plans are, I can go first, or I can wait if y'all know what you want to do.
I have information, but I don't necessarily have a direct path. However, yeah, okay. So in terms of what we where were we as players or as characters
in your estates?
In our estates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a regular day.
Yeah.
For you, it was Tuesday.
I would have transmitted a pre-recorded message upon arrival in system.
Oh, excellent. Please give us that message.
Yes,
now
let's hear it.
if the messages from the jump point have arrived, then also this message will have arrived. Please, Admiral.
I am going to pre-apologize to my high school French teacher because I'm terrible. So the image is going to be a man wearing a khaki battle uniform with like really big pockets on it. It's combat webbing with a pistol belt, a bandolier of shotgun shells with visible grenades on his belt. He's also going to be wearing this stylistically super clashing dark blue long jacket with the high collar, exaggerated cuffs, gold trim and tassels and everything.
Are you saying he's got drip?
Yeah. He has a visible burn scar on the lower left side of his neck, and he's got black circle sunglasses on.
Okay.
Love that.
And his message is Les paysans de la planète Whittington. Agrires mes salutations, le plus enthusiastes. N'est pas pour, je m'appelle Admiral Philippe Lebeau, et je représente les acquisitions Lebeau. tous les navires qui connaissent d'arriver sont sous mon commandant. J'attends avec impatience retrouver et conduire les affaires avec votre nobles, the sages, seigneurs et dames, dans l'intérêt de toutes personnes impliquées et représentées. And he gives this exaggerated bow. And that is his pre-recorded message that gets sent when he jumps in.
So like as the recording is going on, we get like flashes of like a like political thriller style situation room where like Lachlan is just like shouting at a bunch of people running around. It's like, who speaks French? Somebody speaks French. Find that person.
The intern in the mailroom, sir.
Exactly.
Right.
Played by Ryan Reynolds.
I think
A male intern? That's right. I think he's a little old for that, but okay.
Yeah, I think the first thing I'm going to try to do is get a hold of Audrey Lafayette and who became in charge of the planetary defense?
She is.
Oh, right.
Audrey is in charge of planetary security, and Count Hiroka has appointed himself commander of the militia.
Right. We both gave ourselves promotion.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how accountability works. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll shoot off messages to Lafayette and to Jasper because frankly, Lachlan doesn't know shit about fighting space battles between ships to give orders to Sir Sauron. So he will basically send like just a version of what the message he got out to them so that they can see what the situation is and just say I'm having him hold off on engaging as long as we can until you two can let me know what our best course of action is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Audrey attempts to initiate a three-way phone call between using the latest holovision technology.
There isn't really much of an approach to any space assets, but there's a very obvious show of force as multiple 200-ton small craft and like a whole squadron of aerospace fighters disengaged, but they take defensive positions around the jump ship.
So for those at home that have never heard the word small craft in relation to Battletech, it's basically what would happen if you took an aerospace fighter and a drop ship and decided they would have a kid that has more firepower but less maneuverability than either.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It's just a box with like 30,000 guns on it.
It's a gunship. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, there's an obvious show of significant amount of firepower, but there's no aggressive actions taken.
Okay.
You don't fly by the tower.
No.
Waiting to see if we strike our colors in very piratey fashion.
So I think
they only taught Cajun in the academy, so like I only got every other word.
There's no way that's true. The Davians are supposed to be French.
Oh, really? Then maybe Lachlan speaks French.
Does your character sheet say that you speak French?
No.
Okay,
Is that
then you
a
don't
skill?
speak French.
Is French a skill?
Yeah, no, language is a skill.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, then
Knowledge
I don't
of
have
other
that.
languages, yeah.
Okay.
What
Let's see.
does Comstar say it says?
English. Comstar says English is the only language we need to know.
How American of them.
I mean, all of the technical documents that they use are written in English, so
Yeah, that's kind of true outside of America these days.
Well, they're flying. Okay, so like in character, the craft and all that's like the gunship and stuff. They're flying defensively, which makes me. Okay, is there a difference between flying defensively coming out of a jump point versus an invasion force? Like, is there a way to tell the difference between two?
I mean, the invasion force would begin burning towards the planet immediately, right? The less time that they spend doing nothing, the more time they have to conquer the planet and get there before aerospace forces respond. Normally, they would have to worry about like you calling for reinforcements, but given that you're under a Comstar blockade and interdiction, that's not a concern.
Right. Okay. Given that it takes 4 days to get from the jump point to here, right?
That's
I
a
would
military speed. Yeah, two gravities worth of travel time.
Right,
Okay.
traveler distances.
Yeah.
I would. My military recommendation is to not send the fighters. We don't have to yet. They can send if we do want to meet them and engage. We could always do it in a day or two, and it wouldn't change anything. The risk of doing this is, for you all to know, is that it exposes us to something else, right? But if anything's coming from the jump point, basically, if we put all our fighters into space, then there's nothing flying in our atmosphere. You know what I mean?
I'm assuming Jasper's saying this on like this call.
Yeah, I'm saying this in a far more
secure
eloquent
comm.
way, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
sure,
right,
sure.
because
you mentioned that Lafayette wanted a call.
exactly that you put us into a conference call, which I assume then is secured because I assume that we're that competent. So I didn't.
I hope so. I was just clarifying because we never mentioned, actually said whether we picked up the call. So
yeah. So basically, I would say the number one thing is the disposition is unclear. They're not actively pursuing at 2G speeds to reach the planet. Makes me think that the theory that these guys are merchants a little more plausible. I recommend not deploying our fighters at this stage. Pending any developments or change in their vectors, we should have our fighters on standby, but don't launch.
All right, it's clear that Audrey doesn't like this, but she has literally no room to argue with you because you're in charge. So she just says, "Okay, understood." Signs off.
Does anyone speak French?
I mean, Audrey Lafayette probably speaks French, given her name.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
She's already signed off the call.
So if Audrey listened to the pre-recorded message, it's people of the planet Whittington, accept my most enthusiastic greetings. Have no fear. My name is Admiral Philip Lebeau, and I represent Lebeau Acquisitions. All the ships that just arrived are under my command. I look forward to meeting and conducting business with your noble and wise lords and ladies for the benefit of all involved and represented.
Much benefits.
So after Audrey hangs up, Lachlan will just say, I'll let Sir Sauron know that we're not to engage and to just keep himself as safe as possible. I'd optimally like to treat with this LeBeau fellow before he reaches the planet. I know I have no say here, but
I may have a position we can approach this from.
Did you suddenly just appear on this call?
Oh, was I not on this call?
No,
I thought it was.
it was. So Audrey started the call only with the leader of the military and the leader of the local government.
Fair enough.
we can just say that after Lafayette hung up,
you entered the call.
I added you.
Okay. And I'm kind of curious. So from this development of like your new positions and things like that, how do you see Anko's role? Is it still more of a potential advisor or someone that you're still kind of growing trust with?
Yeah, like aren't you like the intelligence?
I mean, that's what Kuro was doing originally, right? They were intelligence officer. And the Sapaku family, before it was dismantled, essentially, or shunned, was involved in a lot of intelligence and education and re-education.
Great. It would be really cool in this call if you knew how to speak French. So,
I don't think I have like a language skill that I took.
Or did Audrey actually translate for us? What
I'm assuming that like somebody in Lachlan's staff or like one of our staffs in a place in a place where we're in a federation in which the leadership speaks French.
Now, I'm gonna roll for it. I'm gonna roll a d20 and anything but a 1. There's a 95% chance. All right, we're good. I got an 8.
I mean, I could also literally just take a point because I have the XP for it to have
just
languages as a knowledge.
Flashback, spend experience point.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with that. I think that makes sense for Anko to be that person.
That's your call.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, she's a cultural person,
Right?
So that makes sense.
So what is it? It's no languages, and then you just get every language. How's that work?
Just
Pick a
probably
language.
one language per.
Jesus.
I'd like to
I
put one
mean-
rank in Daniels.
You guys are counts and barons. You definitely have people on staff that can translate
That's what
Davionic
I'm
French
thinking.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
like-
not an issue.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I was afraid to assert that I learned it in the academy.
I don't know
That's-
about that, but you definitely have someone that can translate it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like Anko, like if Lafayette didn't translate it, then Anko would have most
My
definitely
God,
had
your
someone.
wife definitely speaks it. Tamari, are you kidding me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I would argue that in a
I was watching with subtitles. I don't know. I don't know what it says.
Personally, I would argue that in a federation, if there's like a court language, that would be
Court
should fall
language
under
is English.
protocol. Okay, so the language spoken at court is
Listen,
not
let's be
Davionic
really
French.
clear here.
Yeah.
In Battletech, everybody
Oh man,
speaks
we're
English.
Canada. Then this is fucking Quebec. Oh, I got it now. I got it.
Wow.
We're dealing with
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, my
I
man,
understand
Quebecois.
now.
All right.
All right.
Either way, so
Oh, Canada.
when Anko joins the call, you do like inform her of kind of what you've talked about at all, or
Yeah.
do you leave that out?
I mean, why else would we have joined you, like brought you into this call if we weren't going to talk about it? We're going to talk
That's
about
fair.
something else.
No,
I just-
more like what you specifically talked with Lafayette about, or anything like that, like what
Oh.
your current position is essentially. Like, do you,
Well, I think my position, I don't know, it's pretty self-evident. So like, I'm not sure. Like I'm sort of like the head of the militia. So I'm kind of like, I don't know what I'm dealing
think-
with is
I think
anything military.
Probably when you hop in the call, you like just hear basically what Lachlan said, where he's like, I know you said you don't want to make an engagement until they get closer. I still would like to be able to treat with this guy before he makes it to the planet. I know I don't have any say, but how can we make
Yeah.
that happen? So I feel like that probably gives
Perfect.
you the context.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do we make that happen? And then it's like, hold on, before you respond, it's like a cut to Admiral LeBeau's ship, like finally getting their readings from the planet because the radio waves finally got there. That's how we got the message. At that same time, you realize our starport's like off of it, like half of it's on fire. Like, you have no place to park. You're like, oh, what the fuck? This place is interdicted. Like, you just like.
My scanners detect
Just, like,
opportunity.
show up and it's like Yemen. You're like Yemen.
We're making big fixes.
I come from Costco. Like, what do you do?
We got the money from Jacobson. We're fixing up the spaceport. You just got to give us some time.
Yeah, coming soon. A big coming soon banner over a smoldering
it's like
ruin.
flashing red lights. Oh my god.
It's those
like,
Phase
the
7
pictures of those
renovations.
future
Will they ever
residence
get
buildings,
done?
like the 5/1s.
Yeah.
Like this has that.
Oh
on there.
jeez.
Start Spaceport of the future with like a fucking AC-10 round through it.
Oh my god. It kind of reminds me of Borderlands, where like it's just like people driving by and like something gets shot off and spun around because they're
Oh.
still like mercenaries on planet.
All right, I agree
not-
though. I agree. We should send out a force to or a diplomatic.
An emissary. Convoy. Yeah. So actually, Anko says as much. She when she hops onto the call, she says, "Well, if they are coming in peace, looking for an engagement, I have some ideas of how we can approach that to come from a strong negotiation standpoint. They are low on resources, life resources, such as water, food, air. So actually sending a emissary with those resources would probably put us in a very strong position."
How do you restock life support to one of these big ships? Do you have to like?
Shuttles, or you land it and you just open a hatch.
Got it.
No, it's more complicated than that, but yeah.
But like
You have to,
would
like,
be
replace algae
you'd have
matrices
to
and-
get up to the planet. You couldn't just like we couldn't necessarily just send these supplies to them out.
You can.
No,
You could
technically
send a
you can
shuttle.
refuel. You can,
Yeah.
you would technically refill it at a high port, like you would just like our starport, right? Because our starport basically either has a space elevator or there's like shuttles like
Right.
going
No
up
space
and
elevator,
through
shuttles,
atmosphere.
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, so it's definitely just shuttles. So like the high port would just be like loaded with like O2 and stuff, like for ships to come through and get like stocked up again,
Yeah.
and like food and things like that, like constantly. Yeah, because most of these ships cannot go
Land.
into orbit, right? Like, or,
Some
sorry,
of them
go,
can. It's
go
pretty
into atmosphere.
rare.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's very rare
for-
to have a ship that can jump that also goes in atmosphere. Only like warships, really.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so
like
jump ships tend to get
high ports have everything.
refueled.
As what I
jump ships get refueled by the drop ships that attach to them.
yeah.
Right.
Cool.
So
I
it's the
thought
drop ships that
can they
really need to
scoop?
be doing. There
So
are only a few drop ships that can't land on a planet, but those that can are really fucking massive.
Yeah.
The
Union.
only ship that has been seen in the fleet that cannot in fact choose to land on Whittington is the jump ship.
Jump ship, yeah.
All of the
Um,
drop ships can,
Oh.
and
So-
all the small craft.
very cool.
It'd be tough to
So-
call it a drop ship if it couldn't drop onto a planet. Yeah.
It's true.
Wait, you own the jump ship? That's awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Actually, I'd bring that up. I should definitely bring that up. We need to have like having a friend with a jump ship.
I believe that is how we can approach this.
You have a friend
it's-
with a jump ship.
More friends is better.
More friends with more jump ships.
Yeah. But it seems that they have a lot of resources. Just more ports to just a need for ports to resupply.
I don't know where you got that information, but it's certainly useful leverage.
Yeah.
I will say this.
I have my ways.
We saw the man on the
Okay.
screen. He's obviously a pirate. I don't know about making friends with him, but if we can get him to leave diplomatically without having to fight off another invasion force, I think we can all agree that that would be optimal.
Is it the jacket? It must be the jacket.
So let me ask. Just
Only
to
a pirate's insane enough to put a belt of high explosive grenades on a ship.
let me ask just to speed part of this up.
Yeah.
Are you sending an ambassadorial ship with an ambassador loaded up with what I'm going to call hydrocarbons? So like fuel, water, food, air.
I think
Yeah, and
Who
I'm
is the
think that makes sense.
ambassador?
I think Anko could either be the ambassador or
And whose
McDougal.
drop
I
ship
think it's
are you
Anko.
using? Or borrowing, since none of you have a drop ship right now. Tyr Sauron is at the jump point, so he can directly,
so he can't
direct
do
traffic. Yep.
Mm.
that.
Yeah. Tyr ran into these people then, right? It's the same
Correct.
jump point, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the message he gave me. He was
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
I'm worried that I will die if I fight these people. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
do that.
Is there a ship that was close to the jump point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tyr Sauron's the Tyrannosaurus.
Now that's why I
Okay.
want to know.
Then,
now
Then I've got there's a small craft flying on either side of his ship, but they haven't fired it
Of
off.
course they are.
right, just like
Piss
escorting
this
it.
guy off.
And then there's like, the fly. See, I'm not doing flyovers 4 days away, but I am doing flyovers on the ship here to just remind him, like, don't you just relax.
Relax, man.
well, then
Relax.
the only
The
person we
tension
know-
of space.
Well, hold on. The army doesn't have any kind of jump ships or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay, then probably Jacobson is the only person we have to ask.
You're gonna borrow one of Jacobson's drop ships. All right.
I mean, I can't think of anyone else
Sure,
that we know
hell,
who would
for it.
have a. Do we know anyone who has drop ships?
Yeah.
Listen, Jacobson has been waiting this war out, and asking him to intervene in a third-party crisis where a lot of money could be made is exactly his style.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
just
He would
curious if
love
we
to work
have-
with you on this.
I'm just curious if we have other options, or if
I mean,
she's the only
Audrey
one who-
has commandeered dropships before, right? Like, as the head of planetary security, she can do
Oh,
that.
that's true.
Jasper
technically could just commandeer. I mean, like, the people got pissed off that she essentially stole somebody's dropship and flew it into combat. But
doesn't
Jasper
Gen-
has that authority.
Doesn't
not-
Genji's house have a dropship as well?
Oh, that's true. But he's in a
Let's
coma,
reach out-
so.
Well, his house.
No,
has
that's
it.
even
We
better.
will reach out to House Genji.
We'll commandeer one of his.
We are not commandeering it, but Lachlan will send a message saying, like, on like
Yeah.
official like Count Lachlan
Mhm.
head of the Senate paper, like it's not going to be, can we borrow your ship? It's going to be, House Genji, thank you for letting us borrow your ship in this time of crisis.
With a payment to be rendered at a future date.
Yeah,
and like through
there's
Indusco, right?
definitely a message back that acknowledges that you have the authority to do this, but that favors will be required in the favorable legislation towards the Genji household will be required.
Yeah, Lachlan will send-
No, we're just gonna write him a bill for like 50,000 sea bills or
Invoices
whatever.
you.
And-
50,000 sea bills is the price it takes to put one mech on one dropship and jump it one space.
Hold on. Promises of future legislation? Absolutely. All day. We'll make that anytime. That's free. I'm not paying when I can just use senatorial procedure to not actually follow through on my commitments.
True.
Listen, bro, they're gonna want
Look,
tax
that's
breaks, okay? Tax
Too real.
breaks.
Damn.
Too real.
Sam, this is the reason why I love you on this show.
They don't get these tax breaks. You're gonna lose a
Sorry,
lot of
Genji,
honor
my
in
hands
their
are
eyes.
tied. I voted for it. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Exactly. You know what? This one, sometimes
Get
they
it out
just,
of committee.
don't make it out.
Oh my
Don't make it
god.
to the committee.
It's too
Let's see
real.
how
It's too
well
real.
not following through on your commitments works with House Genji.
Well, I'm mostly joking. We'll figure something
Well,
out.
yeah, we'll see how much you're joking.
Yeah, I would let Lachlan. Are you going up in the envoy too? Being sort of like the head Senate person.
So who
No.
is going?
I know
You're sending
Anko
a
definitely
dropship.
can.
Okay.
So
Like I
I'm
said,
wondering,
I don't think I'll be going.
it may be like too much to send Lachlan
Mm-hmm.
because, like, as an ambassador, as the head
Then-
of the Senate, it, like from
Sure.
like a formality
I
standpoint.
Okay.
mean,
All right,
if we're talking skills here, I have a 7 in protocol, a 7 in leadership, and a 6 in negotiation.
Look,
I mean,
yeah, then
it'd be fine.
Kuro, you'll be amazing to do this. Or Anka, sorry,
That's,
you'll
that's
be
totally- yeah.
you'd be incredible to do that, and then we can just always kind of have like flashbacks / like scenes of Lachlan prepping you for what we
It's-
need
it's also-
at home, so you're
it
not just
just-
like butts to the wind. You know what I mean?
It makes more sense narratively. Lachlan's a little puffed up on this new promotion. He now thinks of himself as a little too important to act as an ambassador.
So he sends other people to delegate.
yeah,
Delegates.
the real power of delegation.
But
Okay.
yeah, so that's perfect. All right, so we can just probably jump to that then.
Admiral
Kuro
LeBeau.
dies in the ship explosion.
Admiral LeBeau, it turns out that you will not, in fact, suffocate to death and die of dehydration. That water and air will be coming to you within 2 days, since they meet you halfway. Right
That's
about
good
when
because I
the
was,
last year's
borderline.
supplies
I
runs
was
out.
going to get air and water somehow. So
Yeah. So, and I think there's like a response message that's sent ahead of time that like is something along the lines of we come greeting you with great with open arms. We recognize that space travel can be arduous. So we come bearing gifts. If you come in peace, we come instead.
So you are approached by the dropship Saigo Takamori, and it requests that you slow down your fleet so that transfer operations can begin, and an ambassador can be shuttled over to wherever you'd like to hold a meeting, Admiral.
well, as the ship is approaching and we're doing contacts, my somebody on my bridge crew will inform them that we are excited to receive them. And God, what did I name this flight? Sorry, I have
Oh no,
a lot of
Bison
I have a
flight.
lot of ships to keep track of. Oh,
Who's the captain of the shuttle? While you're looking that up.
for the one that I'm on.
Yeah, the jump ship. Sorry.
Oh, the jump ship for the Genji house.
Dropship.
Yeah.
Dropship.
Dropship,
for the
sorry,
Genji
the
house.
drop-
Sorry,
yeah.
drop ship. All the names.
It's okay.
Uh,
I made the same.
probably his name is Captain Toba.
Okay.
He's had long service, just like all the
So
other
there's
people that
a-
work for the Genji household. He's like a very famous in his field, and decided to work for him after Genji saved his life during one of the many wars against the Draconis Combine.
As it happens.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
he just
so-
gathers admiring fans to his household.
Yeah.
And
When
he
you're
is
when
a
you're in
much
close
better
enough range of the ship,
protagonist than any of us are.
when you're in close enough range of the ship, it'd be like one of the helmsmen or whatever, or actually probably be second mate on the ship would be like, Captain Toba, our sensors are detecting an anomaly. Their life support functions, their sensors seem to be disabled. It's reading beyond empty.
They're not
Must be
just
some kind of
beyond.
mistake.
They're D&D beyond.
Oh wow.
I just want to take this moment, by the way, to look. Maybe like Admiral LeBeau's fleet, you might be thirsty, and if you are, audience, take a moment to look in the description section on YouTube, because if you haven't been on Discord, you haven't seen the
Oh my
Malika
God.
Musavi art that Radisaurus did for the
Oh,
Black Knight
wow.
pilot who's
God,
been
this
promoted to
fits.
main character.
Oh my
Very good.
gosh.
She's
Very good.
she's a crazy yandere ass motherfucker. Brad has written this whole backstory where she and the thug pilot now have an intricate love affair across the battlefield.
Yeah.
They have a whole side story that we
Awesome.
definitely will almost certainly will be doing as a one shot at some point.
Wow. I need
No.
to see this art. I actually
All
missed that.
That's good.
All right, I'll send it to you. Meanwhile,
let's get to
back,
Ad.
you got your flight name
So-
ready, Admiral?
So there's
No,
a
it's Admiral. There's no D.
Emerald.
Admiral.
What
So
the
the,
fuck just
uh,
happened?
So it's, contacting, asking us to slow down to coordinate maneuvers. The response is, there's a little bit of like, they respond in French. And then does the flight crew on this dropship speak French? Or
I think one
No.
person. Oh, come
okay,
on, Arthur.
there's some shuffling around and somebody yelling, and then there's like a guy who comes in with like some
If
body
we-
armor on and leans
Yeah,
over.
but-
And he's like,
No. Hold on.
Brought a translator.
Yeah, but docking.
Yeah, we know
you follow
that they
New
speak
Avalon docking
French.
procedure, right? So like,
AP, we wouldn't want someone with us to translate. If
Yeah,
they
that's why we
fucking
sent
speak
you.
French.
All
yeah,
right,
that's why
I
we
missed
said
that
you,
whole
Alonso.
conversation. I unplugged my headset.
okay, so they
You said flight crew. The answer to that is no. I guess Anko Anko
Yeah, I
Khan
will
gets on
t-
the mic.
Yeah.
So when contact is established, the response is that we look forward to receiving your ambassador. Executor flight will escort you in for maneuvers so we can dock. And 3 of the small craft just divert to take escort positions around your drop ship.
Okay. I think I lean over to is it Toda?
Captain Toba.
Toba.
Yep.
Captain Toba, and just say, that flight is a little ominous.
So Toba adjusts his very fine space hat and says, "Do not worry, miss. Those pilots out there are drinking their own piss at this point. I doubt they could shoot anything straight.
The fair point.
Are you sure we couldn't just let them starve, suffocate, and die? If you want to, we can turn around now. They'll never be able to catch up with us. They'll be dead before they can."
When when dealing with those in our system, we certainly could, but then that may spread as a reputation, and in our current standing, it may make more sense for us to be more open. But I appreciate your input.
He adjusts his very fine space hat again. All right, I like your suggestion, Eric. So Jasper and Lachlan are watching in the Situation Room. It takes 4 minutes turnaround time, but you're watching like a 1980s style wireframe diagram of like the undocking and redocking procedures.
Yes.
There's
Gotcha.
papers everywhere on this table, and it's covered with Chinese takeout boxes.
Like no, you know the Battletech video game, like in the Argo, when you have the little like hover screen or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
we can see the little like dot trajectory of the ships, and then we
Yes.
see the other like little dots like just floating around in the blue glow.
Yep.
I love that shit. And we're just like waiting to
It's
hear
like
back.
Wing Commander, right?
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Anka would be heading down to the shuttle and be ready or get escorted over.
Which dropship are they arriving on, Admiral?
They're going to dock with my seeker.
All right. So when you land on this particular dropship, they immediately reseal it against zero-G operations so that you can get out of the shuttle without dying. It's pretty big. I mean, it's designed to transport a whole battalion, and it's also like mostly engines because it's one of the fastest dropships that's ever been built. On the other hand, the crew here all look like they're dying of dehydration because they are. The air is a little stanky. No one here has had a bath in several weeks, and the whole dropship smells like. I mean, there's no air filtration that can get out like this many unwashed bodies.
I think in Note AP, knowing that they're low on air and other things, Anko would be dressed in some level of a suit to make sure that she has not like a minimal one. But
I don't think you have a minimal spacesuit, but sure.
Well, I mean, like one that has like a respirator, some sort of oxygen supply, that sort of thing.
Your crew immediately began offloading containers of compressed water, air, and food, which the people here look like they want to like someone popping a fire hydrant on a New York City street, right? They look like they want to do that, but they know if they do, the several atmospheres of pressure will instantly kill them. So they're just calmly moving it, sliding. It's like a filter in your fridge, right? They're removing the old canisters, putting the new ones in, rushing over to a fountain to get a quick drink, trying not to trample everybody else. What does your ready room look like, Admiral? I know that you haven't been as successful as some, but it's not as if you're a pauper.
So it's going to have there's going to be a lot of things attached to the walls, little like trinkets and some of them are more whatever. Like there's like some weird pottery in a container, and then there's other ones that are a little more ominous. Like there's like part of a hull plate that's like mounted with obvious burn marks on it. The crew don't make any efforts to mention whether or not you're armed, but you also get the sense that they feel comfortable that they have far more than enough to win any fight you choose to bring, so they don't care if you bring one.
Do they all carry grenades as well? Like everybody's got one just in case?
No, but there's a lot of shotguns, which you get the sense, I mean, with the way that with shotgun pellets, you're less likely to get a hull breach. So there's a sense that this crew is experienced at taking other ships.
AP, you may know this, may not. It's okay. Does House Khan have like a look that they go for? I know that
yes,
with
you may have noticed that he Soundwave dresses in all black with a high collar and a stole.
Right. Okay. So it's a cleaner, almost military cut.
Yeah, it's a lot of black and white. I honestly think he looks kind of like a reverend to be. He also wore a black hat as well, I believe. So they have a very
sleek.
It's like a 1920s style look to him.
Yeah. Okay. A noir style.
Oh yeah, noir would be a good description of it.
Yeah. So Anko is dressed in a very sleek like the top is very reserved with like a kind of a rich collar that has it's actually kind of a combination of what you would see like I forget the name of it, but it's like the Chinese silk dresses that they have with the shonsen, similar to that, but like darker colors, the white. So there's kind of the patterns are there, but much simpler. So it's just like kind of a floral pattern, but all in the black and white color scheme. And so that's so she comes in with that with a respirator, just in case there wasn't enough air. So that way she could, or like an air, I guess, an air supply system of some kind. And she walks in, bows respectfully. She does have a kind of a ceremonial family sword that is tucked away. It's if I recall, it's kind of one of those hidden blades. So it's a wooden kind of staff, or wooden sheathed blade. And if she's allowed in, she would take a seat or stand and wait to be asked to sit.
So he's got, I mean, as you come in, do you bring any attendants in with you, or is it just you?
I would say that there's maybe one attendant. I would have to figure out a name, but at least one attendant.
So you come in, he's standing on the other side of a table. And there's one other person sort of standing in the room with 2 glasses and a wine bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees you, you bow, he bows back, and he takes off his sunglasses and puts them in his coat, and he puts his shotgun on a rack.
I think
Français, Anglais,
Anglais.
Oui, I can speak some English. Please have a seat. Welcome to the fleet.
Thank you. And she would put her sword on a rack, or like if there's like a place to put things for guests, that sort of thing.
There's a weapon rack on both sides of the room with a bunch of different weapons that look like they were manufactured in very different places.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes no motions of concern or anything if you want to approach one of the occupied weapon racks and stick your sword on it.
Yeah, it's either that or like on the table to the side, but she wanted to not show, like the intention here is not to show a form of strength, but more of like of kind of an indicator if I know how to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems that we came at the right time.
I must say I am most grateful for the gift that you have provided to my men.
Yes. Well, it seems that if I hadn't, we wouldn't have much of a conversation. And that is more fortuitous for us at this time. So a small gift is nothing in comparison to what brings you to our system.
Well, I have to say, my men and I are very good at ensuring we have what we need, but it certainly it informs me that you wish to speak on kind terms.
Indeed. An olive branch, as it were, if we were to speak of the old ways.
Oui. Would you like some wine?
Yes, I would love some.
And he'll motion for the trooper to pour us each a glass of wine, and he'll make a very exaggerated motion of taking the first sip to be like, it is in fact not poisoned.
Yeah. It's one of those like those moments of like just eye and tension that you always have when you meet someone new, that there's, again, that show of force, or rather the show of or coming into new space. A fine year.
Yes, I would say that I have been saving a few bottles, but I can say that that is the last bottle I have saved for now. It was my favorite. I figured I would open it last with such a kind gesture from yourself.
I appreciate the gesture in return. So we have bore a gift to you. What gift can you return?
As I have spent some time in and around the Davian space, I understand that there is not a lot of news. You do not hear things off-world, not of late.
Yes, with what has been going on with Comstart lately, it is difficult.
Well, we are experts at acquisition, and as such, I would be willing to transmit to your shuttle updated records and communications and happenings of the greater space around your world.
That would be a lovely start, yes.
Yes. And he waves over his guy, and gives him some instructions in French and then shoos him off.
I think the attendant is like there to help with any kind of communications as well. So, with our gifts exchanged and wine shared, what more brings you here into our system?
Well, you see, the thing is, we have been acquisition specialists for quite some time. And as you may imagine, the landscape in our work can be somewhat volatile.
Yes, I understand this quite well.
Fortunes change. And our fortunes have been okay. We have done well for ourselves. As you can see, we have amassed quite the fleet. But I have to say that I have made a decision in the last few years that I wish to provide a better life for my men and their families.
Ah. Are you perhaps looking for a new home?
This is a word we could use. A home for the families. A home port, if you will.
I see. And with this home port access to a place such as ours, what would you be able to offer in return with your, as you said, formidable fleet?
I suppose the first thing to take care of is to ensure that I know the authority and of whom I speak to.
Of course. Out of character, apologies. Totally should have remembered introductions always start in a conversation. Apologies, I got ahead of myself. I am Uncle Khan. I am an ambassador, and what we call the Oath of Endosteel. No, we're the Endosteel Knights. Is that correct?
Yep.
And also a member of the Endosteel Knights. So a protector of this world, as it were.
A member of military.
And I come speaking on behalf of the Senate of our planet.
Well, I see you are also a member of the leadership of the world.
That is correct.
And you have the authority to speak for your people.
I do.
What would be your my respected title here as Admiral, but what would I refer to you as in respects? As a knight, or I wish to give you your due respect.
Of course, I appreciate it. In this case, you can simply call me Ambassador.
I see. Well, Ambassador, there are a few things to consider about having us as
yes,
as a home fleet. For one, let me ask, how many jump ships do your Senate control?
I'm guessing there's probably like a fact sheet that Anko would have known before going into this meeting. So AP or Sam, whoever knows, as the new leader of the world, does the world actually have, or the Senate have control of any jump ships, or is it just Jacobson?
We were just talking about it.
Jacobson has a jump ship. That's it.
And
Okay.
Genji, which is the one you're on.
Nope.
No, that's
Genji has a
drop
drop ship.
Drop ship
Oh.
and jump ships are two different things. Jump ships are the
Oh.
things that let you travel between star systems.
Oh yeah,
This
no,
planet
not-
does not have access to
Yeah.
jump ships beyond the merchants that come here.
Yeah.
And the military that bring,
Yeah.
That's why we
forces
had to get Jacobson to help us when we went to.
Yeah.
So Jacobson
that's
has a
planets.
personal jump ship, and he also charters a number of other jump ships, but he does
Got it.
not actually own them. He's just chartering them.
Right. Well, we in fact currently have access to some that we charter, and one that is owned among our nobility. Or he's
Not a
technically not
noble.
noble. Yeah. One of our
He's
premier
a
merchants.
knight that bought his title.
Yeah. One of our premier merchants often allows others to use one of his jump ships.
Doesn't allow others. just you guys.
Oh, sorry.
Like the
I like how you keep having to discuss it now. You're like, nope. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
we finally got there.
like you guys
Yeah,
managed
yeah.
to personal favor yourselves at jump, but he's
Yeah. There is limited access to jump ships on the planet.
I see. And well, the sensor data that I have collected also says that your world has had some issues with protection.
That is true. Yes, we had a recent invasion from the Draconis Combine. Not the best of situations, but we were able to fend them off and are in recovery.
I would say that another thing that was immediately apparent upon arrival was the ship that would have been responsible for stopping us should we have not been as magnanimous as we have been. As you would, those of us in the trade would say that this would be a good target, a good haul, a vulnerable place.
Yes. We have much in terms of land resources, but in terms of military, we are limited.
I would say that it would be a fairly sensible thing for the fleet to wish to defend a port at which our families live.
That is sensible, yes.
And we have a number of different assets. We have multiple dropships, small craft, aerospace, VTOLs, conventional aircraft.
Yes, we were very impressed with, and to be fair, a bit concerned. Unexpected guest with such a force. Your early message was helpful in appeasing some of our worries.
I was glad that you decided to take me up on it. The other worlds that I have visited when I have given said message have decided that they did not wish to be friends.
It's an unfortunate attitude of our times. But wiser minds were able to prevail, and we decided to risk the emissary approach. As it is, it would seem that there is much that we can both gain from each other. One, you would have a home port where your families, as you said, have a safe place, especially if the fleet were to leave a regiment of it behind to protect the home. And then whatever else that that you would need to do to continue in your business of acquisitions.
I have been thinking as I have been monitoring things from your world while waiting for your anticipated and arrival. And I have come to an idea of a trade that I wish to propose.
Very well.
I suppose in order to entice you to agreement, I will tell you first the things that I am willing to offer to your world. The first is, of course, I have a jump ship. I would be beholden to provide services to a place that allows the safe housing and route of supplies for my families and men. I would also offer to ensure that we have assets remaining in system to provide security and interdiction. Would also be able to offer in places around here the opportunity to patrol systems. Should you wish to keep an eye on your neighbors during this period of unfortunate lack of information, we have the ability to jump back and forth. We also would be more than willing to acquire information as we come and go from the system to ensure that you have a source of information to rely on. And we can also get messages out of system.
I think that is wonderful. And a good start.
And lastly, we are very uniquely equipped to assist with the acquisition of assets from your rivals.
Ah, that was the last one I was going to mention. As I said, we have a fair ground force and with the knights, we sometimes go beyond the system.
All right, like there's a flashback of like the admiral saying the exact same phrase as someone in like Valentina or whatever. Like,
now we would of course be willing to bring your ground forces with us. We have mech bays. We do not have Battlemechs. And as a unique feature of security, because as I'm sure you have discovered, as you have said, you have taken trips as knights, and your world has recently been visited by others' knights. It is quite the commitment in order to bring your forces. It's quite risky.
Yes, indeed.
My crews are experienced at unusual jumps, and we happen to have a rather robust jump battery system. So we could jump in, and we do not have to wait to jump back out. Although we would need to charge both systems after doing such a thing.
I was about to ask what that actually meant, what the jump battery was, the perfect, in terms of player knowledge.
Yeah, it's quite rare.
Yeah. I think Anko, who does have never mind. She doesn't have because I think I had somewhere. Wait, hold on. Do I still have that? She has the tech empathy. Yeah. So she has some understanding of technology. Okay, cool.
We also, I see you have your own dropships. I don't know how large your ground force is. We tend to fight on the ideology of extreme mobility. Your tanks can't get to where we're stealing your things, and then we move somewhere else when you get there. You understand.
You just outrightly admit you were a pirate?
I've got pirate sigils all over my ships.
Yeah, but it's one thing to like look like a pirate. It's another thing to legally tell an ambassador you're a pirate. Okay, you do you. You know
Hey,
what?
you know what? Building a relationship on pure honesty is a very powerful position to come from. It is.
He's had some very specific, like, he's done most of his work in the periphery or on the edge of Davian space. So there's a lot of places you show up out there and you're like, you know who I am. You can't stop me. You can give me your stuff or die. Like, I see you have your own dropship. I do not understand how robust your ground forces are, but we have additional docking collars.
Very well. Yeah, we do have a fair. Our fleet has been thin as of late, but our ground force has grown over time.
I believe that you sound like you are interested in what we have to offer.
There is certainly much to gain from an agreement here. I believe there are still some legal concerns that we need to smooth over to make this a amendable position for the both of us.
My officers and I do understand that the idea of having a home port would also come with there would be a trade. Some of the things that we were doing before we would no longer need to do because we would have access to things from our home port. If you are concerned about our activities causing problems with your planets, it would only be a natural concern.
Of course, reputation is important as we communicate with others outside of our system.
Oui.
To manage our trade agreements and various shipments, of course, which I'm sure your fleet and the jump ship would aid us in improving our ability to trade as well with our neighbors.
We have records and a heritage as members of a merchant fleet. We understand these things.
Excellent.
Now, knowing that you are interested, there are certain things that we are looking for in exchange for these services.
Please.
The first, of course, being that we wish to have a reliable and discounted source of foods and waters.
All right.
In addition, we wish to have 2 facilities built on the planet for us to store and transport cargo. Those would also presumably be the places where our families would live.
Okay. Very well.
We would also be we are not looking to become members of Davian military. We have no wish to become beholden to a military that does not understand our unique assets and skills. We would, of course, have no problem assisting with the defense of our home port, but it would be assistance, not subservience.
I understand that position. And of course, I will bring that to the attention of our what's the actual title again? The Planetary Defense Commander? Was that what it is?
Are you looking for the head of planetary security, or are you looking for the commander of the military?
Which I believe right now is the same person.
No, Audrey Lafayette is the head of the FBI, essentially, and Jasper is the head of the military.
Right. Yeah, so do not worry. I have close relationships with the head of the military, and I am sure we can come to an agreement.
I see. I also have two more requirements, as one might say. The first is, as you have told me, you have robust ground forces. I have a brother who needs to die.
Ah, I see.
Unfortunately, his complex is built into an asteroid. It is very difficult to bomb a large asteroid into non-existence. It would be exceedingly expensive and cut into our supplies. But with, ground forces, you could go in and ensure the liberation of my people who are trapped there under the unrighteous rule of my brother.
That is certainly an interesting request that I was not expecting, but
it would, if you would like to think, it would help ensure that we have finished our ties with our previous life before joining with the life of Whittington.
I understand. Shifting life, or your life from one to another, is an experience I am very familiar with. And then the final request.
In order to ensure my ability to protect and take care of my people, I wish to become a noble.
I see.
As I understand, in this part of space, the lowest of these titles is what, a baron? I would wish to become a baron.
It's
he's just like he's sitting at his table drinking his wine.
I don't think Akko's even. No, wait.
Yeah, you are a baron.
A baroness. Yeah. Okay. And what's the next? Is Duke?
Count.
So it goes
That's what we
Baron,
are.
Count and Duke. Okay.
Baron, Count, Margrave.
Marquis?
Technically, it's called
No.
Marquis right now. Depends on which country you're in. Then Duke.
Yeah.
Technically, they make a new title called Grand Duke for the Battletech universe and some parts of it, and then Prince and First Prince.
Which just tends to
and
be
we
a
only
Marsh
recent-
Duke.
Yeah, we only recently have had dukes on Whittington. Like with that last
Right.
promotion, now
Yeah.
our liege lord is a duke, and me and Eric are counts. And
That's right. Now I remember. Yeah, I know it all changed recently, so that's why I was like, "What was it again?" Cool.
Not only would this help me protect my people, but it would also solidify how important a home port this would be, and maybe alleviate some fears that some may have at my associates now living on your world.
Eric, why are you shaking your head? You don't like this deal?
No, absolutely not. Plus, I mean, okay, so there's a genuine reason why you shouldn't be a noble besides my own personal opinions on that. And this is something that Anko and Lachlan would have spoken about, is how do you maintain plausible deniability getting information when someone can just be like, dude, you have an address registered on it, you know what I mean?
I want to be clear. My silence here is not tacit approval from Lachlan.
Right. We got to have Anko come back and have a conversation.
You have had a negotiation conversation about like what you will give up and what you won't. Lachlan, like between them in the past, right?
Well, here's the thing is, I think we had a fundamental misunderstanding. Lachlan wanted to go up there and do what we could to diplomatically get them to leave. Lachlan is not interested in signing on to a protection racket.
So here's Anko's approach, and why I've played this way so far is I'm listening to their requests and their offer.
Totally understandable.
And haven't agreed to anything yet.
I'm with you. That's why I was being silent, because it's like, as far as I'm concerned, Anko's just getting all the information out, and then we're going to talk about it.
Yep. And to Eric's point, I 100% want to like flashback to a conversation that we have now that we have information about what we're willing to what we're trying to get out of this situation.
No, we don't need a flashback. We can flash forward to having the conversation between the three of you. At a table.
I like that better.
Yeah, well,
we don't need flashbacks.
Flash forward to the past.
No, I understand that you are not the sole leader of your people, and this will probably need to be something that is discussed. But understand that in my wish to have a better life for my people, we are willing to change some of our ways in order to have a stable, safe home for our families.
I understand your position, and will, of course, do my best to bring that forward to those, to the rest of those that I represent. As some of the requests that you've made, of course, require more than what I am able to offer at this table.
As I was expecting. I was expecting us to enjoy a good conversation, an exchange of ideas, a little wine, and then for you to return and for us to discuss more later.
Then you are wise in the ways of negotiation.
Negotiation is in my blood.
Well, and I think they have like some time where they exchange pleasantries just to get to know them. Whether or not you want to role play that.
No, we don't have time. We got to cut back.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you're back on the planet.
Yes. So Anko returns and to save time recounts to you all of the requests and
Oh, they're not being. I think there's definitely value in having maintaining a cordial relationship with them, right?
Oh, absolutely. So out of character, like Eddie thinks this is actually kind of an interesting deal for Whittington to have a more secure position in space and also have jump ship to communicate to the outside worlds outside of the one that we have that's limited.
I don't buy that. That's
because
I don't buy that. That's what this is.
Look, man, Admiral Philippe Lebeau is gonna get dunked on by Comstar in like 3 months. So
I just don't see any way that this plays out well for. I don't know. We probably should just do this in character because basically, I think what Lachlan says is like, frankly, I don't see how we get this passed through the Senate. I don't see how this breaks well for us in the long run. In its most positive state, this turns us into effectively a pirate nation. And in its least effective state, it's just a protection racket.
To some extent, I understand where you're coming from. However, their sentiment was that they wanted to change from their previous ways.
So long as they outgun us the way that they do, there's no way to integrate. There's no integration to be had. It's just extortion of legitimacy. the moment this fellow decides that it's no longer more useful to use us than it is to be out there doing what he's currently doing, he'll take everything he can and leave.
Then what is something that we can do either to solidify that relationship, to integrate them better, or we simply do not allow and instead have a more of a cordial merchant agreement?
I don't see any version of this that works without asking them to disarm. And if I were them, I don't understand why I would ever disarm. I don't see, let's put aside all of the issues with just promoting this fellow to be nobility. Let's put aside the entirety of the philosophical underpinnings that make that such a tremendously
Difficult to say.
difficult question. Let's put all of that aside. How could we have a baron that can take the entire planet? How can we upset the political balance in that way?
Okay, well, just remember that if you have aerospace fighters, that doesn't allow you to control a planet, right?
Yeah.
Like you
can
even
technically
having mechs
bombard,
doesn't
you
let
can
you
technically-
control a planet. You need
Yeah.
people on the ground with guns to put those guns to people's heads to control the planet.
Right.
I mean,
I probably
It's-
just pissed somebody off somewhere with that comment.
look,
It would be
look,
it would be unfeasible for him to own the planet. I mean, worst case scenario, he could raid the shit out of the planet, but
Yes.
he's not going to be able to keep your
Could
planet.
extort us for sure.
Hyperbole
too, I
aside,
guess.
you see the point Lachlan's making is not that he can stage an invasion and keep the planet long term against the Federated Suns. The point he's making is that at any moment when he decides he's done with us, we're fucked because we have no way to, like, just effectively signing this deal is us just putting ourselves into his hands.
So then shift the deal, Sam or Lachlan.
No, you
that's what
say
I'm saying
Sam,
is-
and Sam appears behind Lachlan and
I
puts
know,
a hand
I
on
know.
his shoulder.
So
I got this, Lachlan.
Sorry, I dropped out of character there for a second because I forgot that we were doing a character. But then how do we shift the deal then? If
I don't see any.
they would have to relinquish some of their forces. Yes, they would have to disarm some. They could sell us those in trade for some of the resources that we offer. They asked for housing. That could be part of the agreement. For housing, they must relinquish some of their forces to even it out, bring it part of the militia. Or have some of them sign up for the militia. Shift the deal.
The way I see it,
If they want legitimacy and they want to change their lives,
How many people would this be?
yeah. What's the force or the?
There are hundreds of people in this fleet.
I just don't see any way of injecting these hundreds of armed and dangerous former pirates into.
I don't have it to give you the count. I don't have an exact count for support personnel, but I have 401 combat personnel.
So at least 1,000 people.
So at least 1,000 people.
I'm not sure I see any possible way that we could incorporate well over 1,000 former pirates into the society of Whittington without causing dramatic problems.
Might as well give them the Azumi as well.
Well,
Azami.
wait, sorry. Oh, wait, what?
The Arcades.
No, I understand, but what
They're a
were you-
ground force and they're relatively loyal to us.
Yes, and so you're saying that we can
I mean, if you wanted to,
integrate them, then integrate them with the Azami.
we can integrate them, or we can just, I don't know, see if they want to sign up with these guys as the ground force. Sounds like something that the Admiral wants, and this way we can give him a ground force, and then he doesn't have to be a noble perhaps, and he can just go on his way. And the Azamis have a job that they want.
You're saying pay him off with soldiers.
Indeed.
That sounds more feasible to me than trying to strike some kind of deal where we become a pirate port.
Indeed.
I
It will
think-
not be.
Man,
The
Kane,
case.
this is not going how you wanted it to, huh?
No, this is hilarious. I love it.
If they want to
I-
be happy and pay the duties and trade, then happy
I-
to do all that stuff. But
I disagree with you both. I believe that they are intending to change their ways from a pirate culture.
let me tell you about people who intend to change their ways. Okay. And I go one racist tirade later in like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, like Lachlan might takes it in. I guess I'll just say, why don't you tell me the version of this that you see working then, Anko? They transfer control of the weapons to us, but still operate them somehow.
I believe, well, a version that could work is the forces that they leave on planet become part of our planetary forces. Therefore, they are beholden to the Davian military. Therefore, they are beholden to the planet military. Therefore, under the command of Jasper. The Admiral would still have access to his fleet to do the acquisitions and information trading, but beholden to us as we have legal entity. And if they want to become part of our nation, our world, then they must respect us in how we run things.
All right, someone comes into the room with a piece of paper for Lachlan indicating that you have two people on the line wanting to talk to you right now.
By these people,
Sir Maximilian Jacobson and Count Sebastian Bassett.
we will take Sebastian Bassett's call first.
All right. So Bassett connects holographically. He's sitting in a smoking chair with a cigar.
Smoking jacket? Smoking jacket?
Sure, with the smoking jacket on in the chair. Sure.
Logo.
Yeah, with the Bassett Latour House logo, of course.
Oh my God.
Proceed.
Lachlan, I wanted to talk to you about Jasper, Honko. I wanted to talk to you shortly
Count.
about the marriage arrangements, but I'd also like an update on what's happening in space with this Admiral LeBeau fellow.
Frankly, I'm glad to hear from you. If anything,
He actually laughs out loud when you say that.
yeah. We're just trying to figure out exactly what to bring before the Senate to discuss on this very issue. The man, well, he seems to at least be trying to gain legitimacy for himself and his crew, some kind of arrangement on planet. He initially suggested we make him a noble, obviously.
Yeah, he laughs. He's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, with the cigar.
yeah, sorry.
in
He
hand.
doesn't laugh. He guffaws, apparently.
With like takes a sip of whiskey to clear it down.
And while obviously that's a non-starter, we're just trying to decide if there's any version of a deal with these travelers that is workable and doesn't bring Whittington to its knees in the long run.
He taps some of the ash off his cigar and says, I'd be willing to hire them as mercenaries. I could use some privateers. Certainly a jump ship wouldn't be amiss. My people tell me it's got technical specifications that haven't been seen in quite a while.
You're well informed then. Yes,
It's been a
It's
few
quite-
days.
it's true. I suppose word does travel fast, especially if you have access like us.
4 days is not fast. I'm not paying my people enough, apparently, and I pay them quite a bit.
frankly, I'd be open to some kind of privateering contract on behalf of the planet if we could get it passed in the Senate. I don't like the idea of trying to do an integration scheme, frankly. I don't see it
This
working.
pirate trash. Integration isn't necessary. Make them mercenaries. It's what they deserve. They'll work for money.
Do you think we can pass it?
With the four of us, that's more than enough votes, isn't it? Who's still up? Audrey?
We could figure that out. It'd be excellent if
Xenia? Is Xenia gonna vote against you on this?
I have a feeling that Xenia could be convinced to see our side here, but if possible, a unanimous vote would be good. I will see what we can do with Audrey Lafayette. And
I think
What
that's
do you-
fairly unlikely given her stance on law and order. But given you have a better relationship with her than I'll leave that to you. I'd be willing to pass this tomorrow if you're ready to do it.
I think there is potential way of increasing Audrey's position if we consider the potential trade and economic growth that we might see.
I don't think Audrey cares about any of that. She's literally the head of the police. These people are pirates. They represent a threat to law and order. But don't let me put words in her mouth. I'm sure she's a
think I
big
can-
girl. She can make her own decisions.
let me give it a try. I think I may be able to pitch it to her in a way that hits the notes that we need to hit.
All right.
Jasper, Anko, do you have any issues with trying to go this route as opposed to going with the Admiral's suggestion?
No, I think
None whatsoever.
mercenary is a fine stepping stone towards a different agreement that is more amenable to our amicable. There we go. Amicable to
No.
our.
I want to
Hiring
make,
mercenary. Oh, fine.
I want to make things clear above the game real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bassett offered this to so he personally could hire them as mercenaries.
Yeah, no, Lachlan changed the scope.
I know that Lachlan's changing the scope, but just know that paying these mercenaries what they're worth is going to be incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
You're essentially buying a jump ship and a fully armed fleet to go with
Yeah.
it.
So, that I was going to bring that up, AP.
Okay.
My Jasper's thoughts are, well, buying a mercenary on retainer is no different than paying extortion to pirates. They have to have something to do.
That's why I was thinking it was a rather elegant solution is that we put them on privateering contract and that means they leave our system.
Right. Which in other words is just them extorting us.
I don't really see any way out of this that doesn't look like some version of extortion.
Gentlemen,
frankly.
Well,
if
if it's
you don't know
extortion
what to
with a
do
bow
with
on
these
it, then
people,
then that's what it is. Let's get them out of here.
I have several plans in motion that could use such a force. If you don't have a use for these people, I do.
You're going to foot the bill?
I'm Sebastian Bassett Latour.
One of their requests was
Don't get
some
fleas
level,
when you lay in bed with these dogs.
some level of housing and storage for supplies.
I'll provide them with the same compound I would a mercenary force. I'm not going to build something for them. That's ridiculous.
That was what I was going to suggest. We simply expand our mercenary compound.
You have a mercenary compound, Anka? When did that happen?
Technically, it was part of the spaceport, but that was one thing I like out of character, or even in character. No, sorry,
You want
out
to
of
keep
character.
these people at the spaceport?
No,
Okay.
no. My thinking was that we already had a compound specifically for mercenaries
Yeah.
attached to the spaceport. What if we extended that to somewhere else?
So like
that's what I was
building a
thinking.
second compound.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, that's not what Bassett wants to do. Bassett doesn't want to give these people anything beyond the most basic treatment as mercenaries.
I see. Okay.
Yep, I know, Kane. I know. There will be no counteroffer, my friend.
Right.
Well,
This is really interesting.
Well, in order to make a counteroffer, if they're going to use, unless it's just going to be a unilateral decision by one of the nobility, they have to get it passed by the Senate. They can't just offer something that they haven't been able to pass.
I mean, you technically have supreme executive authority here. You could just make a decision as long as you could say that it was in the best interests of the Lake family.
Yeah, but we can.
If you want to pass something through the Senate, you know, that looks a lot better to people that everyone's in agreement.
And just as a reminder, AP, because it's been a while, I have those assets out in the periphery that I haven't been able to communicate with for a while now.
Yep.
So Anka would bring that up.
Your people.
Yeah. So Anka would bring that up as well. I also have skilled assets out in the periphery that I would like to retrieve at some point. So we do have a use for their capabilities. Now, we did recently have an invasion fleet attack us, and we were not able to interject. That is a valuable asset to have, because the less they can drop onto our planet, the less that we have to deal with.
Sebastian waves a cigar around and says, I don't think the Draconis Combine is going to be back.
Certainly take a while before they'll be able to commit anywhere near that kind of resources to another invasion.
Yeah, we sent them running.
Yes, but there are others that may come. It's still, we lack information because of where we currently are with Comstar and everything else.
Here's my suggestion. We try to thread the needle here. Put them onto a mercenary contract. Send them out to either send them out on on a mission to work on retrieving whatever assets Whittington needs out. Let them do their raiding out away from Whittington. When they come back and they bring the spoils back here to market, at that point, we can start looking into whether we want to extend a contract. And that way, Sebastian, you can start to work on those projects you mentioned, or we'll have bought ourselves some time to reevaluate.
All right. Bassett takes a long drag of his cigar and then says, are you going to be able to get behind this, Jasper? Okay.
I think so.
He hangs up the call.
All right. Do we want to try to squeeze in an Audrey Lafayette scene or another scene of like...
Have you ever considered giving a counteroffer? Kane is
I guess-
waiting for you guys to negotiate with.
No, I know.
We've only got him for another 9 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here. Like, no,
no, actually, I think we should just do that. I think Lachlan will just send this counteroffer to LeBeau before seeing if he can get it, because he knows he can pass it with or without Lafayette.
Yep.
So he'll just try to get her on board after making the deal.
So just to be clear, and I think Anka would put this forward as like we were going to hire them as a mercenary outfit. One of the desires that Anka would have is to provide housing for the families that aren't like active duty members on the ships, as like a means of like, hey, we'll protect your people while you go work for us as mercenaries, sort of thing. So just tossing that out there as something that we can toss in that counteroffer. And then what about the taking out the brother, like helping with the ground forces? What do we think there?
I
think if you don't do it, then the map that I prepared for the next session is going to be...
I like how AP and I have been doing counteroffer negotiations going on. Like, wouldn't it be funny if they like suggested this, or I would totally have gone for that. I love this. This is so much fun.
I think
Like, if we're hiring them as mercenaries, I don't really see what the benefit is to us to helping this dude kill his brother.
yeah, I think I mean, as a player, I'd love to do the mission on the asteroid.
I'm just trying to think of any reason why Lachlan would see this as like being a thing that he would want to involve himself in.
Sure. I think we benefit from it. So we could provide him ground forces and be. I mean, it's kind of like the Black Ops mission that we did before, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
before we weren't reeling from like an invasion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like recovering.
Here's actually maybe something that could work as a
Okay.
counter offer. They'll forego pay for this one-off mercenary job, outside of like spoils or whatever. They'll forego pay, and in exchange, we'll basically trade jobs with them, and we'll provide mechs for this.
And like somewhat of a home base to the resupply.
No,
That was the key thing, was that they need a place to resupply, a safe place to resupply.
that's the point that I'm trying to make, though, is that like Lachlan does not want to commit to a long-term.
No, not long term. More just for like the immediate future. As long as you are a mercenary for us, you are safe.
Yeah. Like, right. Like,
Resupply
as
here.
part of being the mercenaries, like they would obviously be able to like come to Whittington to like do their stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that would be my suggestion, is basically that way we can duck that major expense AP was talking about. That gives us an opportunity to like go use the map and stuff on an out of character level. And I think that like makes sense, because really what it is like, we don't have a ton of money to throw around, but we do have mechs.
Mm-hmm. And pilots.
What do you guys think about that idea?
I like that.
We don't even necessarily have to go personally at this point. We can literally just send pilots and mechs.
Jasper
really
actually
wanted
can't
to.
go personally.
Yeah, so like pretend that I made all of that proposal
Sure.
in more of Lachlan's voice, like, and then he looks to Jasper to see like what Jasper thinks.
I want to explain what I meant by that real quick. Jasper rapidly accepted himself as commander of the local military, and you don't exactly get to take months-long vacations to go to the. You
I
have
don't think-
tied
I don't get
yourself
the
to
gala, man.
Whittington.
Lachlan
Yeah.
can't really leave. I mean, he could theoretically,
You
but
could
he's
like
the
you
president
can do
of the
whatever you
Senate.
want. You're.
It's basically like the
It
president
would be
just like
terrible
going
if you
off.
did, but yeah.
I mean, it's
I
almost
think we're
as if,
about to
like,
see the rise of Sir Philip.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, I
would,
think Eric's
yo,
gonna be
I would
transitioning
play the
to-
shit out of Phil.
So,
I'd-
I
are we
know.
good with
I've
that plan?
I've been waiting almost a month and a half for you to do it.
We're running out of time. Are we good with that counteroffer? We're basically we're setting up a one-off mercenary contract with a potential extension. The trade is they're gonna like go out, do this periphery job, help us start opening up some of these lines of communication again, and then we're gonna do this, help him kill his brother.
Yeah, and we'll house their families on planet and protect them and feed them and all that kind of stuff while we're on these missions. And I think dangle the carrot of like, this is leading towards bigger, potentially leading towards bigger things.
So one-off with potential
We'll
extension.
pay you
for
an
sure.
exposure.
Oh Jesus!
All right, so we're good with that counteroffer though. Everyone's cool with that.
Kane, are
Yeah, I
you
love
good
it.
with that counter offer?
Well,
so
we got to make it to him, but
We don't have enough time to have that full conversation. We're
yeah,
doing
but
it.
I just wanted to
We're
make
doing
sure
it
the
at a
players.
conceptual level.
I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure everyone was on board before I turned and looked and said, Kane, is that
Okay.
reasonable?
So, not paying us as mercenaries to go on the mission to kill my brother. The idea being that we would be mercenaries to the planet, and as long as we're on contract, my people have a home, with the promise that maybe something more could be considered in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And basically, to be clear, it's not like forever after on this mercenary retainer, they're not getting paid. It's like, this
It's
one
just this
job
one job.
is the exchange of, mech support for, doing a little mercenary contract. And then it's like, and then we'll talk about where we go, dangling a lot. There's a lot of like, as we, start to work on a more permanent solution with the
Senate and
legislative
legislation.
powers of Whittington and the lots of like bureaucratic, we're working on it type speak.
Okay, I'm just quickly checking my needs list to make sure all my needs are met. Because like I totally had a needs and a wants, and I asked for everything, which is
yeah.
because I was expecting
do.
like a negotiate down point, you know.
No, and I think we ran a little bit long for that, but totally.
Yeah. Okay, so
Kane came here expecting a business construction and not a discussion, and not player characters making a decision.
Okay, so the first thing that he would ask about is would he and his people be able to purchase provisions at a discount
Oh,
for
Yeah, I forgot about
services rendered, for security services rendered? That would be his.
Glenn could almost certainly do bulk discounts because his whole thing is doing like shipping contracts and shit.
yeah, that makes sense.
Is like most likely the discount wouldn't be anything different than like he would give to like his other bulk like contractor folks, but like he wouldn't say that. He would just give that.
Yeah,
he would do that too.
It's an honest but misleading answer, but he's happy with it.
Basically, he's treating you as though he's like a business you were working with, which is
Right.
I think what he was.
Which is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
He would say that he wasn't expecting to get any pay for the mission because he was expecting it to be a joint venture between, citizens of a planet together. And he's willing to drop the barony thing, if in order to make sure that he can convince his people that abandoning piracy has a future for them, he would settle to be a knight to one of the counts, so he can show his people that they are being accepted, even though it doesn't give him any voting power.
Listen, there's a count out there that would love to have a knight in charge of a fleet who owes him filial loyalty.
I would much rather that be me, but I don't think I have any lands I can get.
I have lands.
I do.
No, wait.
But I'm not. I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
No, I thought that Eric. I thought that.
Oh wait, no, I gave it to the
you
Davies.
don't.
Yes.
We both knighted someone already.
Anko does have lands.
If Anko offers to knight him, so he's like, the minorest of minor nobles, but he can use that to convince his people to stop pirating, he'll take that and he'll totally drop the barony issue.
That would also be a lot more philosophically plausible, like to us as nobles. Of like
and it would
nobilities in the blood type.
And it would establish more legitimacy of Anko Khan on the planet of Whittington. So I think Anko would be.
No, you think knighting a pirate will give you more less legitimacy?
The resources would be very powerful.
He'll also mention for these compounds that he was asking for, he's only asking for some help with material. He plans to have his own people build it.
Okay.
So would you be willing to provide supplies and land for him to be able to build these compounds on?
I mean, if you're getting land from the knighthood, then you would have that already, and you can just build it on the land for the knighthood.
And would you help him with material in order to be able to do it?
I mean, I believe that's kind of with. I could probably make an arrangement with Jasper and Lachlan, who are kind of the resource.
If you're knighting them and paying for them to settle on your lands, we can make a business deal, but you gotta pay.
No, totally. That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, then Lachlan's always down to do business.
Yeah.
It's business time.
And I think this is like this ties so well with Anko's backstory of like reintegration and like re-education, like taking people from one place and like reintegrating them into a new society. So yes, I think Anko would agree with that.
Okay, so after you agree to knighting him, he says that he is ecstatic that his people were worth more than mere mercenaries to your people. He looks forward to the citizenry of being on Whittington, which means you don't have to pay him. And he says that he wants to discuss in the future with his Baron Khan the rules of engagement that you wish for him to and not to engage in.
We'll talk about that. We do have to wrap up for now. Kane, I believe after this mission, we're going to have another episode with you, right? That's what you and I had discussed.
I will come back as often as you want. I
Yes.
love this character and I love this show. So
After the
I
what
love
we're
this
gonna
character. It's
call
really cool.
the moon mission, Kane will be back where we can discuss further what his objectives on Whittington will be. In the month until the next episode, we'll discuss who is bringing what forces, since apparently Lachlan and Jasper will not be joining us. They will need to send their knights out. I don't know that Lachlan has many pilots left to send out, since most of his forces were made up of Azami mercenaries. So we might need to hire
They're
them
still
again.
on contract.
Does that mean that I'm the
No,
tactical
they work for
commander
you
again?
only for the duration of the fight on the planet. Because
Oh, it's so
because
funny.
as soon as the fight was over, they planned to pledge themselves to Jasper again, which they did, and were
That he
rejected again.
them.
I want to say though,
You
Like, I was-
want to get Malika back out on the field again?
Yeah.
I want to say, because we were sort of typing about it when you mentioned like, well, why don't we just give them the Azami? I was like, that would have bought off so many things if he had a ground force, and it would be a force loyal to you embedded in my
Just-
forces.
Yeah.
It's the other way around. You would have had to merge with the Azami because they are an official mercenary force, and you would be subservient.
Oh no, I
to,
would have totally, it totally would have been part of like a, hey, if you want to join my fleet, we can give up this merc thing and just become like house guard to somebody who wants you. Like,
Wow, dumping on Yusuf all the time. A Battletech
Wow.
historical
Poor Yusuf.
Time-honored tradition.
Poor
Yusuf of the Azami. Well, apparently he'll be back under the guise of Lachlan McDougal's personal flunky. We'll discuss
Well-
it. That's it for us.
Well, congratulations, Uncle Khan. You now have a massive fleet that is knighted to your service.
Massive is pretty. It's one jump ship. Come on.
It's such a double-edged sword. That's why I'm very worried. Pirate politics are not so simple. Like, you're now gonna have to like deal with this guy's crew and what happens.
Maintaining them is
Starts getting
extremely
angry.
expensive.
Oh, sure.
But it's also,
But
like I said, double-edged sword, because it's also a super useful tool and weapon. So.
yeah, well, it's a super useful tool. Yes, it's going to be expensive to
Listen.
maintain, but now I have a fleet that I can go get resources and do more than just my education business. So like, this is Anko's chance to shift as well into a new life of looking for old tech,
Of piracy.
like the cons love to
Look,
do.
Pirates are really cool, but like what Sam's saying though is that they're cool, but they don't bode well with HR departments, and that's what you are. So like, be careful. Just be real careful, okay?
All right. That's it for us. Thank you, Patreon members. Sorry it's taken us so long to get another episode out. And it will be at least a month for another episode. So, or at least of the main show. But don't worry, we'll have some one-shots probably.
We love you.
And
We love you. I mean, we're thankful that you're patient.
kind
with us.
of like you. Eric loves you, though. I mean, I tolerate you, audience. You're all right, I guess.
Unlike Yosef, I love you unconditionally.
What the fuck?
Brutal.
Such a
Wow.
dumb. That's it. We're done. I'm so upset about Yusuf.